Welcome to the Leadership Spark podcast, where we equip you to be the great leader your people deserve. This is Corey, and today we're going to continue our conversation about trust. And we started this in yesterday's episode, so if you didn't hear yesterday's episode, please go back and listen, because that's where we laid the foundation for why we talk about trust so much on this podcast and why it's so important for you to understand that trust is the future of leadership. And in yesterday's episode, we talked about survey and research data out there that tells us that a lot of people are very skeptical when it comes to our society, when it comes to work, when it comes to institutions. In fact, 50% of people, they want evidence before they're willing to trust something or someone. And so all that creates a significant leadership challenge, because without trust, it is impossible for us to be successful as leaders. If you want to deliver results, if you want to bring a team together and form a team and have that team perform at its highest level, then it has to have trust. They have to trust you as a leader and be willing to follow you, and they have to trust each other. And so trust is critical. Trust is non-negotiable when it comes to success as a leader. And so yesterday, we introduced the trust equation. The trust equation has three parts. It is transparency plus empathy plus consistency equals trust. And if you want to build an environment of trust, a culture of trust, then you need all three. You need to commit to all three as a leader: transparency, empathy, and consistency. And we're going to use the next 3 days to unpack those. So let's start with transparency. I have a personal conviction as a leader and something that I aspire to, which is to be transparent. I want to be transparent when things are going great. I want to be transparent when things are not going so great. And so what that means for you as a leader and for me as a leader is that I have to be willing to tell the truth, even if the truth I tell is hard. Because here's what I've learned is that a lot of times transparency when things are going good it's easy. It's easy to be transparent. It's easy to talk about the numbers. It's easy to talk about the performance of the team or the performance of the business, or to give your scorecard, or to talk about the great things that your team is doing when things are going great. But when things are not going so great, a lot of times people stop being transparent. And whenever you stop being transparent, whenever communication decreases, then uncertainty increases. And when uncertainty increases, you will lose credibility as a leader, because people will start to fill the silence with their own story. And usually it is not something good. And so as a leader, we want to be committed to being transparent. We want to be committed to sharing information whenever it's good or whenever it's bad, but we're committed either way to be transparent. And so some things that you can think about when it comes to transparency is this. There's three things that happen whenever you lead your team to transparency, or you lead your team with transparency. The team gets closer, you solve problems faster, and trust grows stronger. And so a lot of times when you share bad news, when you're transparent about bad news, the team rallies together. The team comes together. The team comes together to fight a challenge. The team comes together and they get closer. And so when you're transparent, the team gets closer. When you're transparent, you can actually solve problems faster, because you are allowing other people on your team to weigh into how to solve the problem. And we believe that one of the 5 pillars of extraordinary teams is to harness the brilliance of everyone in the room. And the only way to harness the brilliance of everyone in the room is to be transparent and allow people to speak into the challenges or problems that you're trying to solve. And if you allow people to do that and you're transparent, trust grows stronger. And so I would encourage you to this. Your go and do is to not decrease communication whenever things get difficult, but to increase communication when things get difficult, to be transparent, whether things are good or whether things are bad, that you would commit to being transparent. And if you do that, it will create a culture where trust can grow, and you can see more trust evolving amongst team members and their trust in you as a leader. And that will allow you to go further faster. And so the first component of the equation is transparency. Come back tomorrow and we're going to talk about empathy.